Oh, hello. We're here. Okay, I thought the music would be playing, and it's not. Welcome to the Shifts and Pucks podcast. Good producing, Kevin.
You
You can
forgot to
follow
play
us
that
on
funky
Twitter.
music, white boy.
What's that? Yeah. Do 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 do. Oh, the music does it better. Welcome to the Shifts and Pucks podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks. Subscribe wherever you get your audio. Although we are seeming to having some trouble getting onto Spotify. So we're definitely on Apple. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and where other podcasts are sold. As we're in part 2 of the Flames wrap up, chatted with Matt on Sunday night, got his perspective of where the Flames are at. But I like other perspectives. And joined by Devin in the eastern part of the world. Hello, Devin. How are you?
Hey, Kev. I'm doing well, man. Just keeping an eye on this Montreal-Tampa game right now. It's just a bloodbath. There's a lot of penalties that have happened, and it's only the first period. So playoff hockey is among us, and what better place to be than, I guess, Ontario?
Yes, where there's no hockey for the Leafs. And then I'm also joined by Dan. Hello, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Kevin?
I'm good. Of course, second podcast of the day, we did a Canucks wrap up or Canucks recap of what happened with the general manager, Patrick Allvin, getting fired and what's next. So you can check that out. Devin, you talked about the playoffs. I kind of wanted to start in that area because both Montreal and Tampa, which was at an incredible breakneck pace as well, and Boston and Buffalo, the starts of those games were unbelievable. Like Boston, like Nikita Zadorov was old school Nikita Zadorov, the flame we knew and loved. He was creating some chaos. And then that Montreal Tampa game was at a breakneck speed as well. And that crowd in Buffalo on Sunday night, when they came back to win, that was an absolutely, after 14 years not being in the playoffs, that crowd in that city just exploded. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
I did.
Yeah, it was like, that was an electric crowd. That was like an incredible comeback. Great. That was it. Yeah, great game. And I kind of, one of the things that I want to do when we talk Flames this year for the remaining 44 games is bring back a Saddle Dome memory, because we'll have a number of them. And we talked on Sunday about the April 11th, 2004, where the Flames first playoff game in 7 years against the Vancouver Canucks. It was game 3. They lost that game. But game 4, April 13th, 2004, the Flames win 4-0 and tie that series at 2. That was just, that whole series, just the crowd, just, there was such I remember going to the game against the then Phoenix Coyotes when they clinched the playoffs. And that there was some empty seats in the higher level in the bowl where I was in. But that, once they clinched the playoffs, that city Calgary just clicked, turned on. Like, that was absolutely amazing. That year of that summer of Flames hockey was just incredible.
Something we haven't said about Flames hockey in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I remember when they won, the two things I remember when they won that series in game 7 was, the first thing I remember was the amount of honking that was going on during the city at the time, and like the flags and everything like that. And I remember, and Dan, I don't know if you were, I know Dan watches wrestling, but Monday Night Raw was in Calgary for game 7, and all of the wrestlers' promos were like completely hijacked by Flames chants. All of them. It was like Randy Orton was trying to speak and is like, "Go Flames, go! Go Flames, go! Go Flames, go!" It was
That's
insane.
phenomenal.
It was phenomenal, and yeah, it just the Buffalo series just reminded me just of going through this process that the Flames are going through right now. I guess that's the end of it, right? Is that this crowd will come back, and this crowd will be back, and it'll be in a new arena. It will be in the Scotia Arena. It will feel a little different than the old Saddle Dome, but
A lot different.
The crowd is going to be back into it.
There will be multiple concourses. You won't be asked to chest with the guy in front of you trying to get popcorn.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully it doesn't take as long as Buffalo's gone, right?
Yes, that's very true.
Flames have competent management.
Yeah.
So I did hear the Canucks are talking to Kevin Adams, and that might be the worst thing they'll be able to do.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
To defend Kevin Adams, I will say this. I'm not saying he should be the guy. They drafted very well. They did. You look up their draft record. They couldn't keep players, and they couldn't keep anybody. But they drafted really well. They drafted Jack Eichel. They drafted Sam Reinhart. They drafted a number of really good players. They just couldn't keep them.
Well, and the other thing with Kevin Adams is that if you look at this team now, right? This is pretty much all of his construction here with this team that's in the playoffs, and they're off to a great start.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Coyotes once they left Phoenix, right? Same guys, same players they've been drafting for a while. Now they get to Salt Lake City and they're doing well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's for sure. Yeah, so that is basically, maybe we'll save some time at the end to talk a little bit more playoffs. So I wanted to get that out of the end. So the Flames wrapped up the season. They finished 29th overall. They have a 9.5% chance to finish, to draft either first on May 5th or second on May 5th. Any takeaways?
Hold on. They don't have a chance to draft on May 5th. They have the chance to win the lottery on May 5th.
Sorry. Yes. Okay. Good. Let me drink another sip of coffee and do that again. The Flames have a 9.5.
I've seen people saying this online and confusing people, so I want to clarify.
Okay. So the Flames have a 9.5% chance to pick first overall. Thank you. And a 9.5% to pick second overall. They are guaranteed a top 6 pick in the 2026 draft. I guess before we delve into that, is there any takeaways from the season, especially at the end of the season? Maybe we'll start with Devin. Some of the things that you kind of were observing or wondering about.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. It's just happy to see Zane go off on a good note with his fantastic goal that he scored on the last game of the year there. And overall, this is what we've wanted, right? It's a little disappointing how they didn't get to a higher percentage. I don't know where you two stand. Well, I kind of know where Kevin stands on building culture, while also trying to balance losing games and getting a better percentage chance of getting first overall or second overall. That was a little. I mean, it's good for the players, for them to actually start in the league, and the younger players start in the league and have that winning culture. But at the same time, it's a little hit and miss,
Dan?
I think that the end of the season, especially after the deadline, to me, showed once again how good Conroy's scouting is. I mean, bringing in guys like Strome, like Mata, guys that were written off by other teams, came in here and did really well for the Flames. And, Mata, find a guy who would waive a no trade to come to the Flames. I think this team's being built well. Devin, you were talking about managing the wins and the losses. And, I mean, they couldn't even put their backup in to lose. The backup had better numbers than the starter this year. Like, it's almost like one of those Scooby-Doo cartoons. If it wasn't for you kids, and your backup goalie, we would have got away with it too, right? But
they even put in a number 3 goalie and won.
Well, technically, he's probably number 4. Going to say Prosvetov's probably above him on the depth chart, but and maybe even say, but yeah, who knows? You know, and they won with that goalie too. So I think that there's something to be said about winning culture. And I mean, the Flames were never going to get as low as Vancouver. So
no,
I think there's some value for the Flames to be at that 3-4 spot. So I think maybe that's the player they need right now. And if they really want to move up, they probably have the assets maybe to do it. So I'm happy with the season. I'm happy with the way it ended for the fans. And I think anything less, and it would have been hard to sell tickets.
Yeah, I think like the one thing that you could say about the Flames for most of the year is it was very rare that they were not in a game. Like at least they would battle and fight for, like, at least the games were fairly competitive. I mean, other than the 9-2 game that strikes against Colorado, most other games for the most part this year, they were kind of competitive. They stuck up for each other. And I think like the guys like White Cloud and Strome and Mata, like taking an interest in developing the players around them, like Strome with Zary, White Cloud with Parekh, Mata maybe with Berskevich. I do think that helps. That helps going forward. And guys like Strome and Mata, we know that they're probably not going to be with the Flames after next March 2027, but they are going to be. They did provide some value to this organization, and you know,
I've long said you need veterans for a rebuild.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
and. I mean, quite likely Blake Coleman is not. I would suspect that Blake Coleman is not wearing a Flaming C come October. We could be wrong. But I think also, yeah, I think like I understand where the Flames are at. Like I want this team to compete for every inch and battle on the ice. And we talked a little bit about this with the Vancouver podcast this afternoon. And one of the things that I think that, like, you know, you can debate where the Flames in Vancouver are in terms of the rebuild process, but the Flames have had a clear advantage in culture and identity and community support over Vancouver. And one of the things that I would say, and I talked about this, but one of my biggest criticisms of Jim Rutherford is I just don't believe he's in love with the Canucks. I think this is a job for him that he's just winding down his career for, where Craig Conroy is absolutely in love with the Flames. Like he has a Flaming C at his heart.
Maybe not just the Flames, but the city of Calgary.
Yes. And I think that is just, you go look back even at a guy like Dustin Wolf, who hands his stick during a commercial break to a kid, a 10-year-old kid. And like that makes his day, and that comes around. And then you hear stories in Vancouver from Teddy Bluger about the idea of like just the mess that they're leaving in the locker room and how players are not coming in on time for team meetings and the poor dress code. Like there is that the one thing that is starkly clear from Calgary to Vancouver is they've established this culture going forward that at least nobody's expecting them to make the playoffs, but at least you're coming to Calgary, you're in for a fight.
Well, it's an organization that is highly respected across the league. And I believe there was a poll on The Athletic or another organization where they polled, I don't know if it was the players, they polled somebody and agents, that's what it was. Yes. And Vancouver was at the bottom end of that list. And where does that start? That starts up top at ownership, and it bleeds down to the GM, to the players. And obviously there's something going on in Vancouver where the ownership it's toxic, or that maybe not ownership, but I mean, the Aquilinis have been kind of in the crosshairs the past few years about it. But that's one good thing about Calgary is, you know, they have the passion. They love Calgary. Calgary's a wonderful place. especially for hockey players, because you have the fans that care, the fans that know what hockey is and what hockey is all about. So having that respect is absolutely huge, and they obviously don't have that in that same culture in Vancouver, and it starts up top.
Yeah, and I think in Calgary, I mean, talking about up top, Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corporation owns everything here. They own the Flames, they own the Wranglers, they own the Roughnecks, they own the Stampeders, and they expect that from all their teams. You see the same professionalism, the same community outreach, the same kind of little gestures like Kevin's talking about among all those teams. I think it's something that is not just for the fans on the ice; it bleeds down to everybody. I mean, weirdly, one of the most popular Flames personalities is Rick Tulsi, who's like a season ticket rep, and he posts a lot of behind the scenes stuff for the Flames. And like, I think that the people that work in this organization, whether they put on the skates or they're your usher or they're your media guy, they just all love this team and love this city.
Yeah, and I think
and the city loves them back.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some frustration over the length of time that they've been, like, the lack of success, but I think they've been able to kind of reach out and it hasn't always been the case. Like, this is like, we all remember the tree living years. Sorry, Devin, because you've had to live through two tree living eras. But the toxic dressing room, that was the Mark Giordano captaincy era. Don't forget Giro and Dougie Hamilton. When Matthew Tkachuk, during the bubble year, has stormed off the ice after the mess with Jake Muzzin. It wasn't always the case, but this iteration has figured that out.
Yeah, and I mean, here in Calgary, we tend to prioritize the good old Western boys, if you will. So like Conroy, who's not from here but has embraced this, and I think Daryl Sutter got a long leash both times because of that too. He's the Western boy, loves Calgary. Calgary loves him.
Yeah.
But you're right, Kevin. I think that we've had our ups and downs, and the GM has had those ups and downs. But I think for the average fan, even when Tree was here, the way that the Flames were received in the community and some of those things, like giving sticks to the kids, and those things did not change, right? Those were still part of the overall DNA of this team.
Yeah, they're always out in the public and in the neighboring communities, doing public outreach and charities, and that's been the number one thing one of the top things when you come into be a Calgary Flame. You got to be out there and you got to be doing stuff. And back when
I tell these guys, I remember Fireside Chat, we would go to rookie camp every year, and that's one of the things I start talking about at rookie camp. It's talking about how to be a public figure and what that means and how to work with these, because it's part of the DNA of this organization. Whether you're a college walk-on or a 7th round pick, they want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Well, even Zach Whitecloud, as soon as he got acquired by the Flames, got immediately involved in the community.
Yeah.
So,
which makes me think that he'll be here long term.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking. I originally was thinking when that Rasmus Anderson, I was like, they're trading Whitecloud right away, and they ended up trading Uyghur and instead, and the haul that he ends up with, Conroy ends up with the trade deadline is just massive, right? Like, for where this team is.
And I think another sign of that too is look at how many alumni make their home here after their career. Yes. Even guys that barely played for the Flames or didn't play for the Flames come here. I mean, I know there's been times during some of the outdoor games we've had here where we had so many alumni. I think it was when Montreal was here. They didn't have enough. We just had random NHLers throw on a Montreal jersey and go out there because they couldn't find enough for them. But we had 2-3 times we needed. Like, Lanny McDonald is still a face in the city. Everybody knows him. That's not true. And, I can't think of who the Vancouver equivalent would be, or, the Edmonton equivalent. Like, Gretzky's not still making those shots. Messier's not making those shots. Like, Calgary loves their Flames.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, Perry Berzan was not a great player, but he's a huge part of the alumni.
Yeah. Well, he scored one of the greatest goals that he never touched.
Yeah. I mean, even Brent Cron now is, getting to be known. I mean, maybe one of the worst Flames picks, and he's becoming a personality again. So,
yeah, the guy's hilarious on radio.
Yeah. Arguably one. I mean, that was during the years of Rico Fata and Daniel Kachuk and a lot of terrible picks, but that was a bad one too.
Chuck Kobasu. Yep.
Chuck. Oh my God. Kobasu was Daryl Sutter. Yeah, there was some bad drafting in the Flames. Ugh. Much different now, which leads to this. Had this discussion with Matt. Kind of curious where you are. And Dan, you kind of brought it up. Are you open to the idea? Let's say the Flames. I think we all agree Gavin McKenna is going to go first.
He'll be
Probably.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
Okay. If the Flames pick second, what are your thoughts on them moving down?
I don't think they need a winger. They've got too many wingers as is. I mean, those guys are great players, and you wouldn't say no to those players. But if they could move down to 3 or 4, I wouldn't want to go lower than 4, but I would be open to the possibility, depending on what the return is.
Yeah, I'm with Dan on that one. It depends on who they fancy. There's
like
a bunch
if they could
of
trade down
defensemen.
and still get Verhoff or even Malhotra, I'd be very happy with that.
Exactly. Yeah, Malhotra, I think they're very high on. Just from I feel like they're looking for.
Yeah, because I kind of feel from 2 to 10, there is not a consensus. Like I feel like I think most people have Stenberg second, but it feels like there's Cohen and Chase Reed and Christian Verhoff are kind of all over the map there. And Chase Reed seems to be moving up the board. And I guess the other side of that is if they end up picking 6th, or would you be open to them moving up?
I think that the price to move up in this draft is not going to be worth it. I think that the draft's going to be all over the place, and you're not going to know who's going to go where. Unless it was, like a 5th to move up, I don't want them giving up one of their seconds, which I think is what it would take.
Yeah, I think I'm with Dan on that one.
I think even at 6, you'll get a good player.
Oh, for sure. You got Monahan, Kachuk, right? Both at 6.
And I think the thing to remember, too, it's not like the Flames fluked out into a bad season and they better get a good guy this year. Like, let's be honest, they're going to have probably a top 5 pick again next year. So, it's not like you got to get the one center rule them all this year. It's okay if maybe they pick 6, get a defenseman, get a center who might not be your premier center, and then go at it again next year and see who they can get. This is a process.
Are you about best player or position? And the reason I ask is you've got a guy like Zane Parekh who's taking strides. You drafted a number of centers last year. That was the most of your focus last year. But you still need center help. You don't really need wingers, although I'm loath to give up on him. I said to Matt, it would be really tough for me to give up, at first, to give up on McKenna, even though you have a Gridden and a Coronado. That's hard for me to do. It would take.
I don't think you would give up McKenna. Like if you were number 1, I don't think you're not taking either McKenna or Stenberg.
Yeah, and like if they go down the center route and get Malhotra, I've heard that he is a Bergeron type. So I mean, how could you say no to a potentially another Backlund, if not a better version of Backlund, or a defensive 2-way center?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't say no to a good player. You find a way to put them in there. You know, but I think that if they're number 4, it's not a terrible thing. I mean, we're just talking about a good Connor as a GM. If he has number 1, he doesn't take McKenna or Stenberg, I don't think he's GM anymore. Like it's make the pick and walk your ass out the back door, right?
Yeah.
You've got, and imagine going into this and 10 years down the road, they don't win the cup, and that's what's going to haunt them. Like, you've got to make that pick.
Yeah, it's always best player available.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like again, it depends on the position. But like I said with Matt, I would absolutely not do it at 1. I could see a logical reason of doing it at 2, but like geez, you
I
can't
think
pass
if
up
the
a guy.
Flames are 2 and they decided they didn't want Stenberg, I could see them trading down to 3 or 4, knowing their guy will be available. Like, let's say they were 2 and they said, we really want Verhoff or we want Malhotra, we want someone else. Let's take the price, whatever someone's going to give us, to go from 2 to 3 or 2 to 4, knowing our guy will be there.
And if they did, if they were second and Stenberg is still there, obviously, I think, McKenna will be number 1. The big question mark with Stenberg right now is that he didn't score from the end of February I think it was mid-February until the end of the year.
Yeah. I just think there'll be enough teams that would be willing to take a flyer on that, your phone would be ringing off the hook.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that I could. That's not every year I would say this, because I think the NHL is pretty basic when it comes to the top 5. They tend to get very conservative, but just based on what I'm seeing here, I'm wondering if we do see a trade in the top 5 this year. And I'm not trying to be dramatic.
I think the price to enter the top 5 is going to be higher than it has been in the past.
Yeah. Well, and then I go back to the rumored Oilers or Blue Jackets, Oilers, Canucks, Flames possible trade back in the Austin Matthews draft, where somebody the Columbus wanted Dubois and Pujärvi, Juolevi, and the Flames ended up with Matthew Tkachuk. I mean, sometimes it's smart just to stay where you are and then let the team ahead of you make the mistake, right? So,
yeah, and it's not like there's one right choice. It's not like there's one good guy and then it falls off. I think there's 6 to 10 right choices here.
Yeah.
Which is definitely favorable if the Flames do pick 6th, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a great player there. And with having, was it 4 seconds and a late round first?
Yep.
There's a lot of draft capital to potentially
they get
move
6
around.
picks in the top 2 rounds, 6 picks in the top 64.
Yeah, you have a lot of draft capital to move around, or even potentially get a young prospect that you don't have to wait an extra year or 2 that you would in letting them let that player develop if they get drafted this year, right?
What sucks for being a Flames fan this year is looking at how long the round 1 was last year. We'll get our first pick in the first 40 minutes, and we'll wait 9 hours for the second pick.
I hope they don't.
It took 4 hours to do round 1 last year?
Oh gosh, that was so horrible. And then you had the people, the kid and the management staring at each other with awkward voice. Hi.
Yeah, when they went into that weird room where they had to do the Zoom call.
It was like an awkward 6-minute date.
Are they going back after this year to in person?
No. Well, Gary has said that they like this format and they're going to continue it for the time being.
They cannot do the same presentation that they did last year. That was god awful.
No, they'll do something different, but who the hell knows if it's actually gonna be good until you see it.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was so terrible. Like,
and I think, to me, we need to cut out the celebrities making the pick. I really don't care if Adam Sandler's up there or whoever. Just send a player up and make your selection.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make too much of. They're trying to make too much of a spectacle out of it when it just needs to be straightforward.
Especially when those guys were often not there live. It was a video they were playing.
Yeah. Yeah. The other area that, where is the draft this year?
Buffalo.
Oh yeah. Do you think they'll have they should have palm trees as you walk in. Anyway, that palm tree comment always gets me. The other, we were having this debate in Canucks social media. I kind of wanted to bring this to the Flames table because they're in similar positions with a number of draft picks. The thought process being that when you're in a rebuild, the big thing that some Canucks people feel is that they've made a lot of reclamation project trades that have not worked out, and over the years, and the thought process in Vancouver is don't do that because that's just not going to work, or some people believe that. And I brought up the name as an example. I'm not saying he's available, but the commentator suggested no one over the age of 22. So I said, not Shane Wright. I just tossed that name out there. Where are you with that? Are you in the I guess the best word to say that what are your thoughts on the Flames using some draft capital to bring in some reclamation projects? I think is the best way to say it. High risk, higher draft picks that haven't worked out on their first team and need a chance on their second team.
Up until the deadline, I was open to the idea. I think they have all the veterans they need now. I mean, they've got Strome, who's a reclamation project. He's looking good. They've got Matt, who's a reclamation project. He's looking good. I think that the pieces they need for those reclamation projects, you can get as UFAs this year. I don't see the reason to give up an asset for a reclamation project. If they're going to give up an asset, what I'd like them to do is get that guy who, and I go back to the Jari Hudler move. Jari Hudler was a number 2 in Detroit who was never going to become a number 1 because they had their number 1. Get a guy like that, or a guy like Sharon Govich, right? It was never going to move up the lineup in New Jersey, and try those kind of guys if you want to give up an asset. But I think there's a place for it, but right now I don't see where, if you're the Flames, you acquire a body, where do you put them in your lineup? They have too many bodies as it is,
especially at forward.
It's true. It all depends on what the name is and who's coming. Where are they going to fit? What position? There's a lot of defensemen there, a lot of forwards. So I don't see them doing that. It all, like, if say, for instance, if you're going for a younger player like a Shane Wright who just maybe needs a change of scenery, Zary might be one of those players going the opposite way. So 1 in 1 out kind of thing, right? But for draft capital, I don't see that as much of a benefit towards the Flames.
No, me either. Maybe if you got to include a pick, but I would not be moving, like their 32nd pick this year and the Colorado pick next year or something like that for a body. I think if you got to include a third or something, if anything, I think the Flames have reclamation projects to get rid of, and they're going to try and pawn Postel off on somebody. They might try to pawn Zary off on somebody. Like, I can't see them wanting to bring in pieces there. I think if anything, they want to free up roster spots.
Speaking of Zary, let's go there. He made the biggest splash at media cleanout day with this quote: "When you have younger guys with talent and skill, you don't want to hold them back. You don't want to put a leash on them. Who gives a shit if they make a mistake? It's going to happen." It sounded like his comments were kind of directed around Zane Parekh, but it's hard not to argue that Connor Zary had a really difficult year this year, up and down the lineup, sometimes center, sometimes wing, sometimes second line, sometimes third line, sometimes fourth line. What were your thoughts on Connor Zary's comments?
I think they echo kind of what the organization should be saying, right? You've got young guys. It didn't matter if they made mistakes or not. We're going to be at the bottom anyways. Like, I thought that he was just kind of towing the line with those comments.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see his comments too controversial. Overall, you just, well, when you're in the position the Flames are in right now at the bottom of the league or close to it, you have to let them off the leash and let them make mistakes. But it all depends on what mistakes they're making and then how many times they're making it. I think, to me, that makes one of the biggest differences, is that if they're doing the same stuff over and over again, then that's an issue. But if they are able to, if the coaches are able to actually see that progression, then it's no problem by me.
I think that, you're saying Zary's all over the lineup. At the same time, Zary was not good this year. Like, he was all over lineup because they were trying to find, I think, a way to get him going. And he's making 3.75. I hope he's saving every penny because this will be the best deal he ever gets in the NHL. He shouldn't, I don't think, be higher in the third line on this team.
25 points, 74 games this year. He's recovering, he's had two significant leg injuries. His highest point total was 34 when he was with Kadri and the kids back in 23-24. Yeah, I feel like he was what I don't like about the comments is it felt like he was taking a shot at Huska. And my counter is, if people like Gridden, Parekh, Bruskevich, Kuznetsov, and even Tyson Gross, to a certain extent, weren't showing any sort of progression, then I think his comments would be valid. But it really doesn't seem like this one player that didn't seem to progress this year, and I think probably there's more to this story than meets the eye, was Connor Zary. And Matt mentioned,
I think if Connor Zary was the number one scorer and felt like he was dragging this team on his back, maybe, but it's like the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah. Like,
Zary didn't look good. He can't criticize other people.
There's a lot of people that have criticized Ryan Huska and the style that he's employed. And I don't know if this is a fun fact. Did you know that there was only, after the trade deadline, there was only 1 2-1 game the Flames played after the trade deadline?
I did not.
Yes, that I heard that stat yesterday. I was like, wow, that's interesting. But like, the Flames are not they don't have the talent to be a run and gun team. Like, they have to play a little bit more of a defensive style. I think when you look at a guy like Zane Parekh, I think it's very fair to say, and maybe someone would disagree with me, Zane Parekh does not score that type of goal in the first half of the season when he's with the club before the AHL stint. Does anyone disagree with me?
Nope.
So that shows some development. And they had a plan specifically for Zane Parekh when he came back from AHL, and they stuck to it for the most part. Well, they ended up actually playing him like about 20 minutes a game, and he showed some growth. I mean, Gridden is, I don't know where exactly Gridden is on the Sky chart, but he's probably the most talented Flame forward other than Matt Coronado, and he's made a lot of strides. Kuznetsov, some would argue that he was already ready when he came up, but he's made some significant strides as well. So it felt like with Zary, it looks like he was getting slower in his I don't think he's not playing with the same confidence that he did back in 23-24.
I think you and I interpreted his comments very differently. It sounds like you thought he was making a slight at the coach. I just thought he was saying, you know what, it's good that we're letting these guys have, their run and practice stuff, because then we're going to be better because of it. We're building young talent. I didn't look at it as a bad thing when he said it.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't seem that egregious and outlandish for him to say that, because I took it that same way. And I mean, if he is talking about Huska and about his own play, you have to look in the mirror, and he hasn't played that well. He hasn't been working hard enough, I don't think, and moving his feet. So in this offseason, he really needs to work on his foot speed, because he is a bit slower, and start working his ass off more so that he can show Huska that he's worthy to be up in that lineup. Because there's too many, as we were talking about before, there's a lot of players up there, and you got to work your way into that lineup. And if you can't, then maybe it is better for them to trade him off, and he can have a better spot or better chance somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, if I were the coach, I'd be telling him before he goes, you know what, Honzig's going to be healthy next year. Don't lose your spot to Sam.
Yeah.
Well, even him, right. Let's not forget, before he got injured, unfortunately, he's made a hell of a lot of strides in finding out, the guy is, I think Honzig's probably a middle 6 winger, like best high 2 left wing, 3 left wing. but still, he's found his game. He's finding his game. He's rounding into form.
But a good team needs 4 good lines, right? Like, and we've said this a lot on our show. You can't say, "Oh, we've got our one top line left winger. We're going to win the cup." You look at the best teams; they've got the good 2s, the good 3s, the good 4s.
Yeah,
and this is actually a great position for the Flames to be in as an organization when you have so many players that could be in the lineup one night to the next. If you're not playing well, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think right now, like, let's be honest, I think the Flames are going to need to keep Zary's salary around to hit a cap floor, but they have no incentive to put you in the lineup. I mean, heck, if you can, waive him if you want, send him to the A if nobody takes him, or just sit him up in the press box. But yeah, I think you're right, Devin. They have no problem with sitting money and putting someone else in.
So go ahead. Sorry, Devin.
Or if he is going to be sitting, you can guarantee that him and his agent are going to ask for a trade. And that's great, because then we'll get something back. Because
hopefully, I don't know what team's going to want to take that money though.
Fair,
right? I mean, he's got 3 years at $3.75 million. That's a big deal for a guy you're sitting as number 13.
I think there's competition. Like, I think it's great that there's competition. Like, I mean, I think, to me, going into next year, Tyson Gross seems like an early favorite to be the 4th line center. Like, he's got the size. He gets face off.
Zary's got 2 more years after this at 3.775. Yeah. Sorry, Kev.
Yeah, I don't think Zary's a center. I think I think he's a winger more than a center. But so, like, I'm just processing this in my head. I mean, I think
I think it could be Gross. I personally think Gross would go to the AHL. I mean, it's easy to look good in the back half of the season, but I think even just looking depth chart wise, you want to reward a guy like Cairns, you want to reward a guy like Morton, guys that have done this for a while. I don't think there's any rush to get Gross into the Flames lineup.
I mean, the one thing I'll say though about Cairns is Huska has been very specific about wanting him in a top 6 role, not in a 4th line role.
Just for his skill set too, right?
Yeah.
Set him up for success.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Morton's going to be there too. I think you could also look at potentially putting Strome on your 4C. Like, there's different options there, but you also can't keep putting Cairns in the AHL. Like, he's got to clear waivers next year, so it's either NHL or you'll probably have to move him.
Yeah. Where are we while we're at it here? Where are we with Igor Sharangovich?
I think you got to keep him around for cap hit reasons, as Dan
well, again,
was talking about earlier.
He's making almost $6 million. Who's going to take that from us? I don't want to pay to get rid of him. He has a 10-team no trade. Like, it's not worth it to pay to get rid of him. Do I think that he's what the Flames thought he could be? Maybe not. But even as a 4W, he's good enough for a rebuilding team.
Yeah. And I would like to see Adam Klapka get a little bit more time in a higher spot in the lineup.
He just needs to show more consistency and game in, game out, because he that's his biggest flaw, is that he's not consistent.
That's true.
I think that you'll see more from Klapka if you don't have Lomberg in the lineup, because I think he'll be taking on more of that gritty role. And we did see Klapka on line 1 this year, right? And he's been all over the lineup. And I think after his first pro season, I think you could definitely see him as a 3W. But again, he's a winger. The Flames have too many wingers. Like, who do you move out or who do you move down to put him up?
Yeah. I'm assuming, well, is anyone expecting Coleman to be back next year at the start of the year?
I think there's a good possibility. I think you might see a team who's, out of the playoff there that says, crap, we need a piece. Let's go get Coleman. I can also see it being like Anderson, where we didn't think he'd be on the team and he didn't go till January. Sorry, Devin, you were going to say something.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much exactly what I was going to say. I think you're probably most likely seeing him back in Flames colors, but it just depends if there's a team out there that sees him as a benefit, having him on their team all year instead of just midway through the year.
Yeah.
Cap's going up. He'll be cheaper, but I also don't think the Flames are going to rush to sell him.
No, they can be patient. And
I don't think the Flames honestly got what they're looking for Anderson until January next year. So you might not get, or of last year, sorry. So you might not get that from Coleman until close to the deadline this coming year.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see who was interested, or I'm not. Who knows if we'll actually know who's interested at this trade deadline, and what they were wanting for him, and how somebody that would be in this offseason. But most likely, we know that you got to have the timelines. You got to have those break even moments, right? For
the thing I think might go ahead. Sorry.
No. Yeah, you got it. You go.
I was going to say the thing that might complicate this, Kevin, is he just had a baby. And I could see him saying to Flames management, I've got a 10-team trade list. You know what, guys? I want to stick around here while my family's here. Like, we just had a baby. We want to, or it could be the other way. You know what, guys? We just had a baby. We want to get settled somewhere. Move me this summer. Like, I think the baby could be the factor one way or the other.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, yeah, because like the baby was actually born in the States, in Dallas, right? And in Texas.
Yeah.
But you never know. The family aspect is always a big part of it, especially for Coleman.
And I could totally see, like, I think Dallas, if they're out early, is going to say, crap, we need some firepower. They already know they're losing Roberts. Maybe they'd go out and try to get Coleman in the offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a possibility. I think
there'll be some team that'll go out early. They'll say, we need that one missing piece, and it might be Coleman.
Yeah. Well, just for Dallas, I think I don't think they have the sandpaper to. I think one of the things that's going to become clear here is I don't know if they have the sandpaper to compete with Minnesota in a 7-game series.
No,
but we'll see.
And we also don't know who's on Coleman's 10-team list, and that might challenge things as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, and then you talked about Pospisil. That's another interesting question. I've always thought a team like Winnipeg could use him. Like, you're just a bit more. They don't have enough. They need some sort of rattiness, and that I've always wondered.
I think though, if I'm Winnipeg, I would probably rather try to find that on the free agent market than pay a price to acquire Pospisil.
Don't know if it would be that big of a price.
What do you think it would be?
I don't know. He's starting a new deal at $2.5 million. That's more than they were paying Lomberg last year. If I were the Flames, I don't think you're going to move him. I think you just send him to the A. See if we can get his game together.
Mid round pick, fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah. The massive risk though, especially with his health.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think send him to the A. If you lose him, no big deal. If someone wants him on waivers, that's why I don't think a GM would pay for him because of the massive risk. But I'd send him to the A and see if he can get his game together.
Especially at that cap hit too. Granted, the cap is going up, but yeah, 2.5 for 3 years.
Yeah, fair. What else? Do
you guys think Lomberg comes back?
Yes.
I think they're going to do what they did with Vladar, and they are going to say, you go, what's the contract you're going to get? If we feel we can match it, we will. If we don't, we wish you all the best.
See, just the way he's talking, I don't even know if he wants to talk to other teams, though.
Yeah, he likes Calgary too much.
Yeah, I can see that. But I do think someone will overpay for him. I think that's another.
Yeah, and there's a point. There's also a point where how much is and I remember asking Matthew Tkachuk this one time when I had my media credentials, what can you buy for $7 million you couldn't buy for $6 million? Like, yeah, somebody might overpay for Lomberg, but to uproot your family to go somewhere else, but they're all here and you like it, he's 31. When do you just say, you know what, this is enough, I'll sell down here?
That's a great point. Hey, he this is his second stint here. He obviously loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know how
and
much.
Even if you bring him in as a 13, like I think the big question right now might be he wasn't in the lineup much. Are you willing to stick around if you're not going to be a regular in the lineup?
What did you think of Brennan Othman?
He's okay.
Do you think he could do what Lomberg did or provide the same type of play that Lomberg did? I don't think he's the fisticuff guy that Lomberg is.
I don't think that's Othman's role.
No. Not
Do
a
you
lot of
think he's
people can do what Lomberg does as far as like his personality. I'm talking about his whole him as a person in that locker room, in the community, and on the ice too, because we know that the off ice stuff matters as well.
Yeah.
He's got a cup. I think he should wear an A next year if Lomberg's here.
Yep.
I think Othman's a good guy, but to me, he's generic winger number 4 on this team. Like he's a good enough guy to be in your bottom 6 on a rebuilding team.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not saying he shouldn't be in the lineup, but I don't think that I don't think there's many guys out there that will, unless we go get Ryan Reeves, that you can replace Lomberg with for that on ice role.
And Othman, he's 23. He's an RFA he's an RFA this offseason. I don't like it. There's just so many players that could be playing on this team next year, and he can't. He has to work his way onto it. He's not like a veteran like Lomberg, who you know what you
Always earned,
get.
never given.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It just didn't, like, from the Conroy conversation, it didn't sound like there was an urgency to bring them back. I mean, the other way that I can see it is he's not signed on July 1st, but we probably see something on August 15th before training camp that Lomberg is back.
But again, if you're not, yeah, maybe. I mean, if he wants to talk to other teams, sure. But I don't know why you would. I'm surprised not done already, honestly.
Well, they did a bunch of work around this time last year. Didn't they signed Wolf around this time last year, didn't they?
Yeah. But I think with Wolf, too, it was very different because you didn't know how much he was worth. I think the fact that he got his Vezina nod maybe made him worth more. I mean, I think if you're going to re-sign Lomberg, you're not offering the guy a heck of a lot more. It's, hey, you're making 2. You want 2.5? I'll take 2.25. Great, let's do it.
Yeah. Pay the nice man.
Like, I think the big thing with Wolf was what is the number going to start with? And I think that was probably where the discussion was going. I think Wolves probably want an 8 or a 9. The Flames probably want a 7, and then they probably split the difference there.
Yeah.
Now that we're talking about it longer for Lomberg, I think that you have your price, you tell it to him, and you can go hit the market, see what he can get, and that offer is will be on the table until
we find another guy.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, I think then that's kind of what Kevin was saying. Let him go to the market. Let him see what the market bears. If you think you can get better, bring it to us, and we'll let you know if we can match it. If not, we'll see you in Philly or wherever you go.
Yeah. I'm assuming, like, let's talk about Huska. I mean, there's no doubt he's coming back.
Why would you not?
Yeah.
You've had a thing for Huska all year. Like, I don't know what. Every time you're on our show, you're talking about firing Huska.
I'm not firing Huska. No, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I have gone as so far as to say that I think we will see Ryan Huska represent Canada in a coaching role at some point. I wouldn't be surprised.
Every time somebody says fire Huska, my question is who do you put in? Who's your better option?
No, I just wanted to get that off the table. I'm a huge Huska fan. I think Huska has done an absolutely fantastic job with this.
He's the right coach for right now. Is he the coach to lead us to the Stanley Cup? I don't know, but I think he's the right coach to lead us out of this rebuild.
I actually think Ryan Huska can lead the team to a Stanley Cup.
I think he could too, but I think it might get to the point where he says, you know what, this is what I like to do. I'll go somewhere else that needs that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Do you see any changes in the assistant coach roles, though? That's where I was really going.
Not really.
I wouldn't see. I can't see why not at this point.
Yeah, same staff. I think.
They've changed. They got rid of Savard. There, it didn't change anything. Like, I think the coaches you've got there are Huska's guys, and I like that they brought in Lowry. I don't see any need to make a change to the personnel. I think it's the players on the ice not executing the system, not the system being broken.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it this year with Larson? Larson left the team.
He left the team in the offseason. Well, he left the team end of last season. That's when they called up Trent Cull. And
Right.
then
Yes,
Trent
okay.
Cull got the full-time job in the offseason. That's when Sutter's kid took over with the Wranglers.
Right.
Okay, that's yeah. Do you see that changing?
Not really.
No. Okay.
No, I think the both AHL and NHL coaching staffs are going to stay put.
Okay.
Do I think that he's the best coach? I don't know. I mean, we've only seen him for a year. I think it was a ballsy move to put a rookie coach as your head coach there, but the Flames have obviously got some faith in him, and I think just because the last name is Sutter, he might get a little bit more rope than he should as well.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
If he was, Johnson or whatever, it might be different. But I think the fact that Sutter's kid, I think he will. If he's not an assistant coach there, it would be Matt Stajan. Like they will. I think that will be a internal hire for a long time.
Yeah, I can see that. I just wanted to put that out there just in case anybody had this. Devin, Dan brought this conversation up a couple of weeks ago, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. So we all know the comments made earlier in the year from Don Maloney in the interview with Brendan Parker and the absolute lead balloon that led to, which kind of made Conroy had to come in and sweep the mess up and introduce us to a guy named Ethan Wittenbach. Dan has brought up the theory that there's this possibility of Don Maloney stepping away from the organization. What do you think of that?
I wouldn't be surprised if he does. I don't know. Like where does it come? Like where did that hypothesis come from?
So let me give you a little bit of a background, Devin. So I think that with Maloney and the comments we saw from him earlier in the year, it felt to me like he and Conroy might be rowing in different directions. Maloney might be rowing in the we need to be in the playoffs direction. We don't want to say rebuild. Conroy is saying we got to rebuild this team. I wonder if you might see Maloney say, you know what, I'm not effective here. It's not going the way I want. He steps down. They put Nonis into that president of hockey ops position, and then we find a new assistant general manager. But I just think that the way that it looked with Maloney, it looked like they were on opposite sides. And I wonder if it might be, you know what, this isn't the way I want to go. I'm stepping down.
Yeah, that's probably a very, very real possibility going into this next season, or even into the next off season. But I don't know. I don't see Maloney having as much input now, or putting him in front of a mic again.
But I wonder if there's still some of that discussion in the office.
Probably, most likely. If that's how he's talking to the public, then he's probably trying to push management into, okay, what are we doing here? Are we doing my way, or are we doing it Conroy's way?
And I think that you probably at this point, there was the rumor going around for a while that Murray Edwards didn't want to rebuild. Murray Edwards didn't want to trade Kadri. The fact that's happened, I have to imagine ownership is now on board with a rebuild. And if that's the case, they might say, we don't need the guy to be that voice anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And if he's not happy here, then
that voice anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. If he's not happy with the direction of where the Flames are going, then why would he stay? How long has he been with the organization?
He's been here since almost Tree got here, because Tree brought him in as a consultant and a special scout.
Was he here when Burke was here?
I don't believe so. I think Tree brought him in.
So that would be 13 years.
Yeah.
I'm just doing a quick search here.
And, the other thing is, remember, guys, when they brought Feaster in as the assistant general manager, and we kind of all knew he was the heir apparent, like, I was surprised to see Dave Nonis take an AGM role. And that's why I keep thinking, maybe there's something going on there. I honestly think that we're about to see the president of hockey ops role not be as prevalent in the NHL. That's just me. But I think that if it is something the Flames want, they'd probably put Nonis there.
Well, there's also the Jerome McGinley question too. What exactly is his role going to be in this organization?
I don't think they want him to shut down his school. And I think in order to be an AGM, you'd have to shut down his school in Kelowna. I mean, Conroy was a special assistant to GM for years. I think that's kind of what Jerome is.
Yeah. It's most likely just to keep Jerome involved with the Flames, and if he wants to move forward with a better or a higher up name, then it's good. But it's always good to have Jerome connected to the Flames, no matter what.
Yeah, I think he's as involved as he wants to be.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
And Maloney was 2023. He came in.
He acted as the
agent into the organization.
Intern, yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, he became intern before that, but he was doing. I think he was consulting with the Flames before that.
Because he was GM with the Coyotes until 2016, so it would have been after that.
Yeah, because he wasn't. You know, sometimes they bring these guys in. They say they're not on the official payroll, but they're some consultant to the GM. I think that he was doing that for a while because I remember him just following Tree around for a little while when we see him in the bowels of the arena.
Fair.
Since 2016-17, according to Elite Prospects, he was a pro scout. And then 17-18, he became VP of hockey operations. And then 18-19, he became senior VP of hockey operations, then president of hockey operations in 24.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of in the Ken King role now.
Right.
I do think that this would be a quiet removal, though. Like, this would be like when Jake Bean was left the team. Kind of in a similar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any casual fan knows who he is or cares. I think a lot of casual fans say, "Oh, I didn't even know he's still with the Flames."
Yeah. Yeah.
But it feels like there's some friction there, and that's the only reason I'm thinking that is if everyone's now rowing in the same direction, even if he is. I mean, I don't think that he's I don't mean to disparage Don Maloney. I don't know how impactful he is to that management group. And I wonder if even just optically you say, you know what, it looked like he wasn't on board. Let's switch that position.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a possibility for sure.
I still don't even know what the president of Hockey Ops does.
Yeah.
I think
some sort of paperwork.
I think they consider the future.
Isn't that what future considerations are for? Is that the guy who figures out what the future considerations are?
Yeah. Well, then he
you sit there and ponder something you want from Chicago from 12 years ago.
Yeah. I'll consider you in the future.
Nothing says they have to consider you positively. It just says you have to consider them.
Yes. Yeah.
Great distinction.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else that I missed with the Flames that we should talk about?
I think that's about it. I mean, we talked a little about the forwards. I think one of the interesting things is going to be there's going to be some guys leaving on the back end, but I think they're guys not of note. Like I don't think Bean will be back. No. Maramanov's not coming back, but there's going to have to be some roster spots on both forward and defense freed up here.
Yeah, and let alone what's going to happen with Cooley.
Well, and so there's a question. Do you sell high on Devin Cooley?
No.
I'd say depending on the price point. But normally, if you're selling high on him, quote unquote, it's probably a late second or a third or a B-level prospect. So most likely not. No. No,
I love Devin Cooley. He loves Calgary. I don't want to get rid of a guy who, I mean, did you guys hear at his end of year press conference? He wants to start a jazz trio. We were trying to figure out on our show who should be in his jazz trio from this team. Like, he's a wacky dude. I think, especially in these rebuilding years, you need that great media face. And like Devin said, high is still not going to be worth it to make the package work. I mean, if somebody comes to you for a first, maybe, but I don't think that anyone's going to pay enough to make it worth it.
No.
If it's a first, I would, for the record. But yeah, he's too likable. He's lovable. He's not even likable.
He's a lovable guy. He reminds me a lot of Lomberg we talked about, or McGrattan, like those guys that are not the star of the show, but the ones the fans get behind.
Yeah.
Yager.
Yeah, he's a guy that's got an absolute future in broadcasting. I keep him around, and they clearly do have a relationship with Wolf and Cooley do. He's almost the comedy, like Wolf is the serious dude, Cooley's the comedy
Wolf
dude.
is great, man.
Yeah, I think they work really well together, and like you need I mean you still have to be careful with Dustin Wolf's games too, and Cooley's the perfect guy for this. I would not like your strength, right? One of your strengths in your organization is probably goaltending, and I would just keep it that way.
Cooley's one of these guys who I think will be a Flame as long as he wants to be a Flame.
Yeah. He's kind of Jamie McLennan.
Yeah, well, I mean, McLennan left and went to Ottawa, but I could even see him being one of these guys who retires, stays in the city, does a lot of alumni stuff because he's just wacky and nutty and everybody loves him. He's the kind of guy you want to send to the elementary school for the Reading Give It a Shot program and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, people follow his rabbit on Instagram. It's not just him they love.
Yeah, it's true.
It might be the detriment, though, of having great goaltending to try and bottom out next year as well. But
well, that's it. I mean, if you really want to bottom out, you have to trade Wolf.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So every time somebody talks about the tank, I say, how badly do you want to do this? Because you could get a pretty penny for Wolf if that's what you want to do.
Oh, I can't wait for that column to come out.
I mean, if you really want to bottom out, if you want to be the next Canucks, trade Wolf. You'll get whatever you want. Someone will buy you another arena for Dustin Wolf. Like at that contract, you can have 2 arenas.
You're not seriously suggesting they trade Wolf, though, right?
No, I'm not. But that's the thing is, if you really want to be the guaranteed number 1, that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
But if you trade him, then you're looking at another 20 years before you find the next one.
Oh, for sure. No, you'd be if Connor trades Wolf, then he's gone. Like there's
he can turn the lights on his way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Like I think the other thing that that's what I was going to say. I just got distracted by a tweet, which I'll get to in a second. But I said this before with a lot of people are upset. Like a lot of the people are upset that they could pick 6th. Just remember, yes, Perry Kotkaniemi was picked ahead of Brady Tkachuk. There's always going to be mistakes before you. So as long as you're drafting and you're developing talent, you're fine. Like, yes, it's good to great.
Do you trust Conroy's scouting staff?
Exactly.
They haven't let us down yet, and I think that they will get the best. I mean, let's be honest. Gridden came late in the first when they had that Vancouver pick in the Lindholm deal, right? Like, no one expected much from that pick, and they found Matvei Gridden late in the first. Like, I trust that at that 6th pick, Conroy will make the right choice.
Yeah. Sean and I had a debate about, and Chris had a debate about that Lindholm trade, and I think that was the big Alvin mistake, but people don't agree with me. I look at it as you don't have a trade tree for Lindholm. You probably, I understand why you do it, and it's not the acquisition of Lindholm that's the problem. It's you gave up a lot for a guy that ended up not signing. And although it was an understandable risk, I wondered if Alvin waited a month to do that if it's the same price.
Okay, so let me ask you a similar question then. So you're saying he gave up a lot for a guy who doesn't sign. If Anderson doesn't sign in Vegas, do you feel that's as big a problem for them?
Yes, I do.
What do you guys think the probability is he comes back to Calgary?
What's that?
Oh, he's not coming back.
What do you think the chances that Anderson comes back here? I'd laugh my ass off.
Oh, gosh. Oh, that
have him sign the contract and just FaceTime the Vegas management and stare him down. I call it the Jokinen move, because remember we traded Jokinen at the deadline and he came back. Like, pull a Jokinen and come back to Calgary.
Yeah,
that's right. I like for the hockey wise, he won't, but for the headlines, it'd be phenomenal.
It would be. And if he called the Flames, I don't see why you would say no. Like, you could still use him on your blue line.
But at the same time, like there is that both on the forwards and on defense, there is that bottleneck of trying to develop players. And granted, yeah, you could do the whole Grand Rapids approach in Detroit, right? Just keep them down there and just have them marinate and become amazing AHLers. And then once they're able to make that step, they can make that step. But I'd rather
if you look at it right now, we got Parekh and Whitecloud, Mata and Brstavich. I would even move Mata out to put him back in the lineup, but I think every young guy on the back end, I'd like to see paired with an older guy.
Fair.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Jan Kuznetsov, he's still a great a young player, but I would say that he's an old soul, and he's almost a veteran the way that he's playing.
Yeah, and we also see what next year comes. I mean, how have we seen a good guy for 1 year and then they bottom out?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, I think it'd be hilarious if Anderson came back.
Yeah.
What would that contract be for you?
I think if he's coming back here, he's not going to get top dollar. Like, if he's chasing the money, he's going somewhere else. If he says, you know what, I went to Vegas, I missed Calgary, it's not what I wanted, or he doesn't get the money he wants in free agency, I think if he comes back here, it's a number 2. It's like, there's a story from when Johnny left, and apparently he did. If you remember, it was said that he wanted to get a deal in the New York area, and that didn't come. And there's a story I've heard, I won't say who told it to me, but a source within the team who said that when he didn't get the deal from out east, he called the Flames again and said, I'm willing to come back. And they said, no, we're moving on because you said you wanted to leave. And that's why he took the Columbus deal. I think if he came back, it would be, you know what, guys? It didn't work out in Vegas. No one else is calling. I'll come back for 6.57.
6.5 at 7?
I think 6.527. I wouldn't do 7 years. I think you do 6.5 million to 7.5 million for maybe 4 years. Or less.
I don't think
I think if you're coming back to Calgary, it's almost another bridge to show you can do it.
I think someone signs Anderson, though. I think
so too.
I think he gets his contract.
Yeah.
I could also see the wife maybe saying, you know what, we tried the Vegas thing. I like Calgary. I don't know.
Fair.
It would just be funny.
It would be funny. I don't think it's happening, but I love the headline aspect of it.
And he's also he was such a guy, he said even when he left here, he hated Edmonton. Like, he's the prototypical Flame.
Yeah.
He is. I will say, though, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's his contract. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes his career as a Flame. And he does come back at some point. It's either a 1 year or a 1 day contract, and he retires as a Flame.
I'm so surprised I haven't done that with Gio. Brought him in on a 1 day and just let him retire.
Yeah. Has he officially retired, though? Do we know that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know. He was doing some TSN work.
Well, I'm just saying, like, as far as, like, the contract or the paperwork goes for the NHL, right? Because technically Rhett Warner hasn't officially retired yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I don't know what it takes to officially retire.
I believe you just say there's paperwork that you have to do to the NHL, and then that's how you can get your number retired and all that stuff.
So you just go from free agent to retired?
Yeah.
Or you get traded to the Arizona Coyotes.
Technically, if Rhett's is still free agent, I'd love for somebody to call him big. Rhett, one off you league minimum. Let's do this.
Oh, that would be hilarious. His shoulders won't hold up.
Yeah.
Reminds me when Fleury came back at training camp.
Oh my God! I saw one of those preseason games where he did the shootout and he scored to win.
Yeah, I was in the building.
Oh, me too. Phenomenal. So good.
Yeah.
I mean, did Jerome ever file the paperwork? Maybe we can call him back.
Maybe.
There you go.
If you give him a Malhotra, we can call Jerome and say, hey, Jerome, we finally got your center.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Let's just switch quickly to Stanley Cup playoffs. What is any, like we talked a little bit about Buffalo, Boston, and Tampa, Montreal. Anything else anyone has been watching or observing?
I'm just kind of getting into it now. Past couple days I've been super busy, but I've watched a little bit of the Buffalo Boston as we had talked about, and Tampa. What we've already talked about pretty much. I mean, okay, who is actually watching Colorado Kings, LA?
That's at 7 my time, so
I won't be watching it. I think we know how that one's ending.
Totally. Sorry, Kopi. Your last year, you're gonna get bounced by McKinnon in 4 to 5 games.
Yeah. I will say that Anaheim. The one thing I will say is, if Anaheim had a couple of extra seconds, I think they might have tied that game against Edmonton last night. Devin, I'm still thinking Anaheim's going to beat them.
Hey,
yeah, we all picked Anaheim to beat Edmonton.
True Flames fans. Favorite teams, the Flames, and whoever's beating the Oilers.
I honestly do think that the Ducks have a chance to do it, though.
The Ducks have the firepower to show what I've been saying for years, which Edmonton has no goaltending. They outscore their mistakes.
Yeah.
And if not the Ducks, like Vegas will do it. Or like I can't see Edmonton getting all the way to the finals here. Vegas will do it, or Minnesota will do it, or Colorado. Somebody's going to unseat them this year.
Yeah.
So Dan, who's in your Stanley Cup final this year then?
From the West, I was pretty sure it was going to be Colorado all year. I think it's going to come down to Colorado or Minnesota, but I'm still going to go with Colorado. I think Minnesota could be the dark horse. And on the East, it's tough for me to tell because there's a lot of perennial losers. Like, Boston always makes it close and loses. Carolina makes it close and loses. But I'm going to say that my final is going to be Colorado and Boston.
Boston.
I think Boston is a bigger, tougher team. I think they'll find a way to beat the Sabres. I think that Tampa Bay will get through Montreal, but I think Montreal is going to beat them up a little bit to do it. I think Boston has the veterans that they might surprise.
Devin, who's your final?
Man, I'm with Dan. On the West, it's going to be either Minnesota or Colorado, but I think Minnesota is going to do it. And then out of the East, my God, I think Montreal beats Tampa Bay, and I think they go to the conference final. I don't know. Like it's so hard because Philly. What is Pittsburgh right now? What is Philly right now? What's going on right there?
Even Ottawa is not a great team.
Totally. So I'll go for it. Yeah. Minnesota versus.
I think you could easily be Montreal, Carolina in the finals for the East.
Yeah, definitely could be. I think Montreal goes far, and I'll have them in my finals. Montreal and Minnesota.
I think if Minnesota ends up in the finals, as we were talking about earlier with Coleman, I think you're going to have a team like Colorado, you're going to have a team like Dallas who are going to say we needed better forwards. And if that happens, I think there's more likely that Coleman gets traded in the offseason.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Because
I think you have two teams that we thought we had the guns to do it and we didn't. Let's go and get those guns. Here's a cheap one.
I'm going to go Colorado, Carolina. I just think Carolina has been so close, and they've had this buzzsaw in Florida, and I think Montreal and Tampa will beat each other up. And I think Carolina should have a fairly easy path to get to the Eastern Conference Final. I think they get in it. I don't think anybody's better than Colorado. The one thing that worries me is that side of the bracket's going to beat each other up. And if the Oilers roll through, I wouldn't be surprised if the Oilers beat the Avs, just based on the fact that the war of attrition advantage goes to the Oilers, which happened to them against Dallas last year.
Two things I think are going to be interesting this year. One is that nobody has their secret weapon because of the changes to the salary cap, where nobody's just bringing somebody out of, the IR who hasn't played in 4 weeks and now they're fresh. And I think that's going to be a big change in how we see the playoffs. And then the other surprise is that the West is very good and the East is very bad. Usually it's the opposite. Like, usually it feels like the East is the powerhouse going in where you think they're going to be the Cup champs.
Yeah. It's nice to see that flip-flop.
I think whoever's the Western champion is going to walk away with the Cup this year.
Yeah, that's fair. I think just going back to just touching on that Coleman thing as well. If either way, if Minnesota goes all the way or if Dallas does, I think either one of them are going to be the front runners for Coleman if Coleman does want to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Dallas calls, I think that the Flames make a deal out of respect and send him back home.
Fair. I think, Connor would be very transparent with Coleman with that too, instead of just surprising him.
For sure. Yeah, and I think, Connor, I think that's part of the reason he is who he is too. Hey, look, Dallas called. Do you want to do this or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very much the Kadri thing. I mean, we can't believe that Colorado is the only team that called, right? We knew that there was rumors that that's where Kadri wanted to go, and the Flames made that happen.
Yeah. They just had to make the right deal. Yeah. Well, it will be interesting. Dan, what do you have going on with Fireside Chat?
We had our last episode for a while this past weekend. If you haven't heard it, we recap the season. We talk about our predictions. Kevin was on our prediction episode, so we talk about how bad Kevin was his predictions for the season as well. So you can listen to that.
How bad?
You have to listen and find out. I feel like the '60s Batman announcer. Did Kevin properly predict the season? Find out this week on Fireside Chat. Same fireside time, same fireside channel. But so we did that. We're going to be on a bit of a hiatus after this until probably close to the draft. We want to figure out where the Flames are in the lottery on the 8th of May, and then we'll be looking. The Flames have a lot of picks to be said. They got 6 picks in the first 64. So when we get into June, we'll be starting to do a bit of a draft preview and looking at the players, not only names of players, but the type of players the Flames might take in those first 6 picks.
Fair. Devin, what do you got going on?
I'm finally just chilling for next little bit here, but I'm looking forward to playing some golf. That's for damn sure. So that's what I'll be doing.
Fair. We probably will be taking a bit of a break talking Flames Canucks unless something happens.
There's not much to talk Flames or Canucks anymore.
Yeah. Well,
we're forced to take a break.
Yeah. We're going to be recapping the playoffs though every week, and I'm planning to do a live reaction to the draft lottery pick. Is kind of the plan, but I'm working on stuff, and then we'll get into the draft more after the 5th of May, where we know where everybody picks. Well, the top half of the lottery picks, and what could happen there. You could follow us, Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com, Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com, Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com, Shifts and Pucks, Apple right now for sure. We're having issues with Spotify. And then the other thing and then Sean Beardy Canuck 03, Tyler TNOBLE, Chris Schneid's SCHNEIDZ. I am KEVOLE on all social media. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.